and welcome to this week's InConversation, in which I talk to people in the Northeast dynamic and exciting cybersecurity industry. My name is Phil Jackman, and I lead on CyberNorth, Dynamo Northeast cybersecurity cluster supported by Accenture and the Innovation Super Network. We're part of the UK Cyber Cluster Collaboration, UKC3, and recognised by DCMS and the National Cybersecurity Centre as representing the region. And today, I'm joined by Mike Panell, Security Manager at Accenture. Hi, Mike. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, Phil. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Well, both of us. Okay, can you start by telling us a bit about your role and yourself at Accenture?
Okay, so I'm the Security Capability Lead at Accenture Advanced Technology Centre in Newcastle. Accenture is a large business, and within Newcastle we are only a part of the wider Accenture security. I was recruited to grow the security capability in the Northeast. We had a number of people working on customer accounts doing security, but we didn't have a focus for it. So I'm here to grow the capability, specifically to provide some mentorship to our cyber apprentices, and we have a fair few of those. We're honoured to have. But to then build from that a shared capability that we can offer some of our customers. And certainly in a large business like Accenture, to raise the profile of the team, because we need to build on the skills we've got. And yes, it's exciting times. I'm really excited to be working with the apprentices. They bring a lot of energy and fresh ideas to the problem.
Absolutely, but this is a fairly new role for you, if I understand, Mike. How did you find the onboarding process through COVID?
Well, the onboarding process was bumpy. I was first interviewed probably 5 months before I finally started. So there was a number of interview processes, all via Teams, and that worked really well. One of the interviewers was in Denmark. The internet just makes everybody connected to everybody else. But once I'd signed the contract, the onboarding process was geared towards remote onboarding. There was a one-day induction course that was long, and there was a lot of knowledge transfer. And then you're assigned a mentor to help you navigate your way through the business. And in a complex business, that's vitally important, because you couldn't learn Accenture in a day. There was a few challenges, of course, because I joined just as we were going through an organisational change process. So we've recently moved a lot of our people capability onto Workday as the SaaS service, and some of the onboarding processes were still related to the old way of working. But we provided constructive feedback, and the people going through that process now are finding it a lot better. Having a mentor, massively important, because in a company as large as Accenture, there's in excess of 250,000 intranet web pages. So you don't want to be searching for stuff. You want to be having somebody who can help you out. But yeah, it worked okay, but it's getting better every time.
I would certainly recommend anybody having a mentor. But let's go back a bit. You studied computer science at Newcastle. When did you realise that computing was the thing for you? What attracted you about it?
Well, that's a very long and interesting story. But essentially, as a youth, a child, I was fortunate enough to be loaned a Sharp MZ80K, so we're talking 1979 era here, a relatively insignificant piece of history, but I was given the keys to the cupboard with this computer in. There was a benefactor who donated one to my school, and nobody knew what to do with it, so off I went. I taught myself computing. And I'm also a mathematician and electronics enthusiast at heart. So shortly afterwards, I acquired a programmable pocket computer, and I was always using that to solve mathematical problems that we were given at school. I thought, rather than working out by hand, let's program it. So I knew that programming was in my DNA, and I was entering competitions to see who could find the largest prime number with technology that's nowadays very, very slow, because prime numbers are important for cryptography. So when I'd finished my education before university, I was faced with a decision that I either wanted to do mathematics, which I liked. I could have done electronics, and I built a number of prototype computer type systems with electronics, and everything in those days was going digital. I was fascinated reading about the Xerox Alto, which was built out of ICs that you could go to the high street and buy for yourself, sort of thing. You clearly couldn't build that, but so I decided upon computer science, which allowed me to blend mathematics, a bit of electronics, into a subject that I love, and I still love computational mathematics today. It allows us to solve problems that we can't solve analytically.
Who doesn't? But when I was at Newcastle University, we had no computers at all. So there you go. Times have moved on. You then joined Syntegra as a solutions architect. What skills do you need to fill this role?
A solutions architect is very much a T-shaped professional. You've got to be capable in a lot of areas. I was capable in networks, computers, programming, but you really only need to be a sort of expert at one. So a solutions architect is not a replacement for technical specialists. It is somebody who is more malleable to business problems, and includes softer skills like financial acumen, planning, and to some extent customer engagement. You were trusted to go and meet customers and solve their problems, and it was a great role. I've had some really fantastic projects out of that.
And so was becoming an enterprise architect. This is where you came from there. Is that a natural progression from a solutions architect? I think you were at the BT then, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, so some people would say it's a progression. I mean, the difference between enterprise architects and solutions architects and even domain architects is about the level you work at. I don't mean level by seniority. So enterprise architects are more worried about problem definition, matching a problem to a solution, but not necessarily how the solution is architected, and that's where the solutions architect works. And it's about providing the leadership and analyzing trends in the industry. So I enjoyed the role because the trends in the industry, I mean, I've met some really fantastic cyber leaders in my career and introduced lots of security innovation into products that I worked on. But it doesn't do away with solutions architects or domain architects, because we all work as one team. And that's why I led a team of solution architects, because you've got your experts to back you up.
So more an issue of granularity rather than seniority.
Absolutely, yeah. It's about a bigger picture. The picture gets bigger all the time, and you can't focus on the detail anymore. So some people struggle with letting go of the detail, especially somebody like me who's a technologist at heart.
So tell me then, where does cybersecurity fit in with these architect roles?
Well, cybersecurity is absolutely about making sure that security is at the design phase of everything you do. For too long, it was viewed as an afterthought. People, we went from early computer systems where there was no security forethought at all, and it didn't matter because it was in a private data center with no connectivity. But as soon as the internet came along in the late 80s, the world changed, and we had to start taking security seriously. So it's about designing systems that have minimal touch points on your data. The more systems that your secure data goes through, the more chances of losing it. And it's about building those controls in, making sure you understand about encrypting data in transit and at rest. And yes, we just need to embed it in everything we do. And as a security leader, it's not just about the architecture. You've also got to work with the people who are building your systems to make sure that they write secure code. It touches every aspect of it, and it touches it from project start right through to project delivery.
So you touched on cryptography and prime numbers earlier on, and so did cybersecurity attract you, or did you kind of fall into it as part of the role that you developed into?
Well, as I intimated, I've worked on a number of a large number of customers, and a significant number of those were in the public sector space, and we had to move from security where we transfer data by tape or it was very much an air gap solution security into something that is connected. So most people's careers involve an element of serendipity. I'd worked on a number of government contracts, and an opportunity flashed across my desk one day that one of our government customers wanted to connect to something as dangerous as the internet. And I thought, I'll grab that. And your career is formulated from grabbing chances that come past you. So I grabbed this opportunity. This was in the days when this state of the art was putting a firewall in front of your data center. So I essentially acquired cybersecurity skills by luck more than by a conscious design. But obviously the skills I developed prior to that meant that the person who took the decision whether I could have this project or not viewed me with a positive light. So
Life is a string of opportunities. Some you take, some you don't. But
yeah.
Going back to Accenture and the role that you've taken on, the business locally is growing like topsy. And what role do you hope cybersecurity will have in that growth of the company?
Well, as you say, Accenture is growing rapidly, and it's a good time to be part of that journey. And as I said, my remit is to try and grow the team. We are a global company, so a lot of our cybersecurity activities for some customers are done near shore rather than onshore. So I'm focused on UK customers who want people who either want UK security clearance people or have a legitimate concern about data sovereignty. So we're focusing on building a team to perform security operations capabilities for accounts. There's a lot of interest in identity management, which is going to be a core part of the team. Nearly everything is cloud engineered, so security engineering is again something that people need to pick up these skills. I mean, and there's a growing interest in what I call secure code analysis. So this is making sure that the applications we develop for our customers are both secure in their design and secure in their implementation. So I'm growing a team. We will have opportunities being advertised. I can't just grow the team until I've got some accounts in. So it's a very much a sort of slowly at start. But I wouldn't be surprised if we double the team size in the next year or two. So that's there's a lot of ambition, and we've got a lot of talent in the area, and I hope to be able to recruit some of that.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. So my last question finally, Mike. Look, this has been a really challenging and interesting year, especially for you starting a new job. What are your hopes in terms of the future?
Well, I've got several hopes. So starting in terms of on personal, in terms of starting a career, I'd like to see more more long-term adoption of hybrid working in a secure way, because it's good for the planet, it's good for work-life balance, and hybrid working still means I can go into the office and meet my team. But if I'm on a day of calls with overseas colleagues, I don't need to be in the office for that. So, but to touch on what I said earlier, I'd like to see security moving into the mainstream of product development. There are still too many products that are not designed securely. You've probably got several of them in your house at the moment. And if I'm going to be geeky for 1 second, I'd love to see quantum key distribution leave the labs and become mainstream technology. There's a few hurdles to get there, but that will allow us to solve the cryptography crisis once and for all, where you can communicate securely, effortlessly, without risk of being breached.
Excellent. So 3 very noble and valuable things there going forward. Okay, well, thanks very much for that, Mike. I'd also like to thank Robert Campbell, who helps me out to set up these in conversations and does the recording in the background. So look out for the next series, and I'll see you at Cyberfest.
Yeah, see you there.
That was In Conversation with Phil Jackman, lead for CyberNorth. Audio and video production was by me, Robert Campbell. This was a Team Funds production for Dynamo Northeast.